This video is probably going to split opinions, and that's fine, because this video is about the worst mods you can do on an M-Lite BMW, based on what I've actually seen on the roads, at car meets, and at car shows. And before anyone jumps in the comments, yes, I modify my M240i. I know that's not going to be everyone's taste. But there is a huge difference between modifying a car so it still looks like a BMW, and modifying a car that looks like it's been attacked by Halfords, eBay, and a lot of bad decisions. So if you're like me and you've ever seen a BMW on the road and thought that would have been a lovely car, but it's just been ruined, this video is for you. Let's start with one that, in my opinion, is going to probably trigger quite a few people, the BMW M140i. Now, since I mentioned the M140i, a lot of you guys are probably going to know what I'm going to mention, and that is the M2 front bumper on these cars. Now, on paper, I get why people do it. They want the M-car look, they want the M-car vibe. But in reality, the sad thing about this conversion is the fact that it almost never works. And you might ask yourself, why doesn't it work? Well, usually these M2 bumpers are replicas, so the fitment isn't correct, the fitment gaps on the wings and the bonnet are awful, and just generally, they don't fit very well. And then you've got the worst part of actually painting the colour. Now, if you know anything about this car, it's a mineral white M240i. This is a horrible colour to paint, so you have to go to a very good paint shop to make sure they match that front bumper correctly. And a lot of the time, from what I've seen, it looks like people have sprayed it themselves with a Halfords rattle can. And you guys know the next part I'm going to mention about the M2 front bumper conversions. It looks like the car has been in an accident. It looks like a Cat S now that you fit this bumper. And the overall common sense of it is, for example, these 1 Series and 2 Series, they're not an M car. So the wings, they don't have the flared look that the M cars do. So when you fit an M2 bumper that has that aggressive stance, and then you come to the side of the car, all the proportions look wrong. It looks like an M2 from here forwards, and then the rest of it looks cheap and nasty. And once a car starts to pretend to be something it's not, the mods get worse from here. Now, for this next bad decision that people do on M-Lites, we actually have to come to the rear of the car. And thankfully, I don't actually have one of these on my M240i, but I think you guys can guess what I'm going to mention. An F1 rain light, the peak motorsports when it comes to BMW M-Lites. Now, arguably, I've seen this on M135i's and M140i's a lot more than the actual 2 Series shape. An F1 rain light, when in fact you'll never ever need to use it. Now, as you would have seen on screen with the pictures, the F1 rain light would go about here, and I personally think that would be a terrible decision. Now, in racing, I get it, it makes sense, but on general road use, why would you bother? Now, to wrap up the F1 rain lights, I personally think it makes the car look like it's trying way too hard. And the funny thing is, the people who fit these F1 rain lights are usually the same people who say they're keeping it OEM+. And that leads us perfectly onto the next one, sound. Now, to lead us into this next one, we're talking about pop and bang maps, or overrun maps, or flame maps, the complete downfall of any M-Lite. And I'm not talking about the subtle stuff. I'm talking about the stuff where you're in a car park, whether that be in the US or the UK, and you hear a B58 absolutely revving the life out of itself. And with these tunes, you don't get any character, you don't get any nice tone with the exhaust. It genuinely sounds like the car is actually broken. To get a full idea of exactly what I'm talking about, I'll put a clip on screen now of an M140i that I found, and this pretty much sums up exactly what I'm talking about. Massive flames coming from the rear of this car. And the crazy thing is, for the money that these people would have had to spend to actually map the car, they could have gone down the route of getting a nice exhaust system. These B58s, they don't sound as good as the N55, but both engines, with a little bit of exhaust work, can sound really good. And take it from me, I've had personal experience with these type of maps. If you're revving the car like that in a car park, people don't think, wow, that sounds amazing. They think, who's that idiot? Pop and bang maps and overrun maps, they're pretty low, but it does actually get worse. Now, I don't know if I'm just saying this because I own a white car, but I'm talking about blacked out everything. Black wheels, black badges, black paint, blacked out tints, everything. You can't see any of the characteristics of the car you've bought. And to add on to this is also something that I see way too often, a chameleon tint. You're literally asking to just be pulled over. For example, I've got the factory OEM privacy glass on the rear of this car, and then we don't have any crazy chameleon tint looking like something from Miami on the front here. And for contrast, I totally get why you'd want to do this. A blacked out M5 would look pretty cool, but the majority of the time, I always see cars like this on a 320D or something that is kind of low level in the BMW grand scheme of things, which isn't ideal. And the next part of the video I wanted to talk about were big wings on an M140i. And before everyone lose their minds, I'm not coming at M140i's in particular. They're just the M-Lite car that I see people modifying and ruining, in my case, the most on the roads. So you might be thinking, what do you mean when you're talking about a big wing on a 1 Series hatchback, for example? I kind of like the wings on an M3 and M2, a Nürburgring track spec car. I think they look pretty good. However, on a hatchback, like on the picture on screen right now, I think they look truly awful. And personally, I'd never put a wing on an M-Lite anyway. Even though this 2 Series, this M240i would suit it better than a hatchback, I still wouldn't do it. And I'm sure there are a few people out there that would agree. These wings, they sometimes do offer real-world driving performance gains. On track, they will do something if you've got your car set up for that purpose. But I'm talking about the majority of the ones I've seen in car parks, driving around Tesco car park, for example. They just don't look good. If you're driving it on track, it's a different story. And that moves us on perfectly to the last part of this video, talking about some track use and tuning one of these B58s, for example, without any supporting mods. Now, you guys probably saw this coming. Going stage 2 plus on a B58, for example, with no supporting mods. Stock brakes, stock suspension, stock differential. Why would you want more power when you can't stop, control, or use it properly? And I've said this before, but I'll happily say it again. Power should be the last step. You want to actually get your car handling, stopping, and performing correctly before actually chasing big power, which is very easy when it comes to these cars. Going stage 2 plus on a B58, for example, is the laziest way when it comes to modifying one of these cars. A properly sorted car with less power than a stage 2 plus build will always be respected more, it will handle better, and it'll just be an all-round better car to actually drive. So if you guys have done any of these mods on your car, don't panic, you can undo them. But if you are thinking about doing them, maybe just think twice. Try to chase a nice clean OEM look on your BMW. And I'm fully aware that the way I've modified my M240i isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea. For example, we've got 19s on a 240, which most people wouldn't really like to see. However, that will be changing soon. So if you would like to see what wheels are going on this M240i, now would be a brilliant time to hit the subscribe button. Apart from that, you guys can let me know what is the worst mod you have seen on a BMW M-Lite. We're talking 135s, 140s, 235s, all of the above. I think if I had to finish off this video with the worst mod that I've seen in person, it's going to be the F1 rain light, because it just doesn't even suit the car one bit. It's really starting to actually rain now. I think it's a good time to get back in the car and finish off this video because the weather today is just an absolute joke. If you're thinking about moving to the UK in winter time, don't do it. It always just rains. The most annoying part about living in the UK, we've got blue sky over here, we've got grey sky up here, and we've got rain over here. This sums up living in the UK. Apart from that, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know this isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I did have to make something about all of these mods that I see on M-Lites that I think are just awful. If you guys did enjoy the video, you can give it a like so more people can see this video and not modify their car this way. If you enjoyed it that much, you can also subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos on the M240i and also the Polo GTI. We've got a lot planned this year, so don't miss it. Apart from that, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching today. Bye for now.